What's going on, you guys? I want to share a story with you the other day where I went to the dentist and the dentist asked me what essentially I do for a day job, if you will. And I told him essentially I'm a trainer, that I help people evaluate and buy businesses that are for sale, primarily like route transportation types of businesses. And that dentist asked me if he could buy routes, if he could do this. And of course, the answer is sort of like yes. On the other side of things, it's kind of like maybe not. It sort of depends. And I want to share with you my thought process on what I believe it sort of takes to have a good chance of success in this business, and share with you a lot of the industries that I see other people come from that succeed with FedEx routes or bread routes and so on and so forth, but especially FedEx routes. And so the first thing that I want to mention is that I don't believe FedEx routes are a transportation company. Now, I know that sounds weird. Just bear with me for a second. So if you were starting a transportation company, you would need to know things like, how do I set up a DOT authority? What's a freight forwarder? What is a freight broker? How do I deal with customs? How do I deal with the gas when I cross state lines? And all sorts of crazy stuff, right? Well, guess what? If you buy FedEx routes, you don't have to do that. You don't have to know that. So in my opinion, what business you're in is essentially what you are spending the majority of your time doing, where the expertise is most critical to be had, where your experience is most important, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. These are the things that make me feel like this is the business that you're in. And so the reality is that since you're not basically solving these logistical problems, and also for that matter, a lot of people that come into the FedEx space and succeed and do very well do not have logistics backgrounds or expertise or experience. So what's going on there? What's going on is that I believe FedEx routes are essentially a HR and recruiting. They're a people management business, because that's going to be the ongoing thing that is the most important and critical aspect of running this business. It's not sales, because essentially that's taken care of for us. And by the way, as an aside, you'll notice that a lot of franchises, when you start to really research these things and dig into what's going on a day-to-day basis for what the owners, the operators of these franchises are doing, they're essentially sales reps. Like a lot of franchises, it's just sales. Like, for example, there was a roofing company that someone asked me about the other day, and I looked at it a little bit closer, and it's like, hey, this might be great. Roofing companies can make a lot of money. That's not what we're debating here. What we are debating is, what kind of business are we in? Are we in construction? In my opinion, if the guy doesn't have to know anything about roofing or construction, and the franchisors will brag about this. Oh, you don't have to know anything about construction or roofing or anything at all. Just come on in. Well, wait a minute. If I don't have to know anything about any of the things that I seem like I'm delivering, what the hell am I really doing here? Oh, it's a sales job. And they'll say it in clever little ways. They'll say, oh, you'll be developing your own pipeline of customers, and you'll be developing your own sales process. What does that mean? Oh, I'm door-to-door knocking and cold calling people. And on a better day, I show up on a customer's living room and try to convince them to buy a roof. It's sales, inside and out. It's just sales. Now, in the FedEx space, we're not going around trying to convince them, hey, we'll ship things a little bit cheaper than UPS. We're not doing that. Like, as a FedEx contractor, that's not what we're doing. It is not a sales position. Same thing for a bread route. Like, we're not trying to convince people to buy Nature's Own bread or Dave's Killer Bread. It's just sitting on the shelf. Like, the shelves are our salespeople. So that's not, in my opinion, a sales position either. It's not a sales job. It's not a sales contract, any of that stuff, right? So I think that it's important that when you start to evaluate a business, you start to see what you're really in, not what they're trying to portray. Oh, it's a roofing company. That means construction. No, it's sales. Oh, it's a FedEx business. It's a transportation company. No, it's HR and recruiting. And whenever you start to realize, like, hey, this is what I'm spending the vast majority of my time, this is where my expertise is most needed, you start to understand why we see a lot of successful contractors come from 4 different backgrounds. One is real estate, rehabbers, flippers, developers, these sorts of things. They also manage people. Second is tech. They are tech managers. They've managed a team. They're trying to do, they're, maybe ex-coders and developers and programmers, but they've got management experience in there somewhere, or they're coming from oil and gas, or also finance. And a lot of people on the finance side of things are also coming from a management background. So how could someone that's coming from oil and gas or, real estate, how are they succeeding when we're getting a logistics company? They don't have any experience with logistics because it wasn't relevant. It wasn't needed. And so I think that this is unbelievably important that people see through the BS sugarcoating of what it seems like the business that you're getting, roofing, whether it's a FedEx route or a bread route or whatever, and you start to see, hey, all of my logistics expertise and all of my processes and systems, they're not going to help me at FedEx because they've got it down to a science. They've got the systems in place. Here's how you do it. This is what we're going to do. Here's the packages. Deliver it, right? And so when you see that, it's like, oh, that's why I don't have to have logistics experience. That's why I don't need these other skill sets, because that's not what this business was. So I think it's very important and critical even that when you're considering any business, try to look through the candy coating and try to see what that business really is about. What am I really going to be doing on a day-to-day basis? What are the real problems? Where am I really going to need expertise and experience to be able to have a chance of success here? Well, in the FedEx space, in my opinion, HR and recruiting, because it doesn't matter how much you pay people, they'll still quit. They'll still get sick. They'll still get fired. They'll still get on drugs. They'll still move across the country. It doesn't matter how much you pay people. Apple, Google, all these companies paying multiple six figures, they have turnover too. You can't get rid of it. So instead of trying to worry about getting rid of it, how can we look at that, embrace it, and then start to figure out contingencies based around that? That's what a true HR management recruiting kind of firm would be doing. And that's kind of the skill set that you're going to be needing more than anything else, in my opinion, than trying to deal with how are we going across state lines in a logistics company or whatever. Because again, there's obviously an argument to say FedEx is obviously a transportation company. I get it. But I also want you to see beyond that and think just a little bit beyond, so you can start to pick the right business that's right for you and start to think about like, hey, even though I don't have background in logistics or whatever, I can still potentially do this. I understand the other real day-to-day tasks and what I'm going to be doing. I can't just rely on this manager in place that's going to be willing to transfer given the opportunity and all the stuff that everyone wants to sell out there to you in terms of like getting into the FedEx space and whatnot. Just see a little bit beyond. And anyway, I think it's going to be super helpful for you. So take care, talk soon, and bye-bye.